Thank you so much once again for inviting me to this session. So I will be sharing, this is kind of a case study, the way we do or we've been doing field trips around Kitch. But first, let me just give you a little bit of context around Kitch. So just for you to have a notion, but you can also search and try to understand a little bit what we do. So we are kind of a tech company that works to empower restaurants to sell all their dishes online. We also have this mission to help them preserve their independency, not just being dependent on the marketplaces. We also work with marketplaces, but we want also to empower them to make this selling online a little bit more free. And for that, we have a set of products, and our main product now, it's more focused on the store, which we can create and help them create their own delivery website. We have an additional product that we can integrate with their POS, which is the point of sales, extend the delivery radius, and also trying to integrate all the delivery channels that they are working with in just one tablet. So this is just for you to have a little bit of a notion. So we work directly with restaurants, and to work with them, and this is a world of segments. There are so many different ways of working in a restaurant, so many different restaurants, so many types and different service models inside the restaurant. So it's kind of tricky to come up with solutions and products that can serve this amount of segments. So we start to acknowledge and mostly be aware that we needed to really get close to them. So field trips were kind of the solution for this questioning. And just for you to have a notion, field trips are part of a research approach, which is called the contextual observation. So basically what happens, you go where people are, you stay there and try to extract as many behaviors, but in their environments, or it can be in their homes, in their workplaces, it can be inside a hospital, inside a nursery, you name it. So you go to where they are working or where they are living for you to better understand the ecosystem of things around the things they are doing, not just focus on the products that you are providing them, how do they interact on a daily basis with them, but also to be aware of the other things that surround that, even if it's a system, a tool, other people interacting with them. So this is the approach that we start to understand that would be very essential for us to start to design and develop better products. So why do we do this? So the questioning was very around, like, we were kind of aware that we are designing things based on some assumptions. Not everything was an assumption, of course, but we kind of based our feedback from the sales team, from the support team, from AM teams. AM, it's the account manager teams. So, and that for somehow was not enough for us to better understand how things were working on the field. So we kind of felt the need to get closer to our stakeholders, not just the restaurant managers, the ones that they were buying the solutions, but also restaurant staff, what happened with the clients. So to see in a close way how they were interacting with our systems and how these systems that we were providing them were interacting with the systems they had already there, and to uncover if there were different things that we didn't know, because while you are on the office, you are not aware of that. You are just working based on what people are saying to you. So we needed to extract contextual behaviors. So from this questioning, we start to, okay, let's do this. Because, yeah, we kind of talk a lot with each other. We are a very collaborative team. We are like around almost 100 people. We are based in Portugal, but us, we have teams in Spain and Italy, and we really talk to each other a lot. But it's kind of different when you are like sitting on the office, or when you go to a food court and try to extract in real time, in real field, what's happening there, okay? Also, it's kind of different when you are sitting in a desk, in a chair, and being in the setup of a restaurant, you know? So different things happen there. even if you have this goodwill of trying to get on your customer's shoes, which is kind of difficult, being in the field makes that even easier and closer. And also, we tried to reproduce with the tools they were using inside the office, how would they manage them? But it's kind of different when you think that the setup on the restaurant, it also is different. Why do they put their POS over there? Why do they put the tablet over there? And why do they have a smartphone or a telephone? So this is kind of things that when you are inside the restaurant makes us more aware of the things that could happen around these systems. Okay. Also, even if you are in the office and trying to talk with customers, when you are there directly observing, you can ask them the things directly. So you are observing something, even if you don't understand it, okay, you can ask them. Okay. So one of other things that we were questioning about each other is, okay, we kind of thought that we knew everything about our customers. And I think everyone likes to think that way. But somehow we needed to, and we were aware of that, that people don't live in bubbles, even if you create these demos and you try to reproduce things inside the office, there are other things happening in a restaurant, or when you go on a field trip, you have other things, other distractions. You have other people coming out and inside a restaurant, which is kind of, you cannot reproduce that in your office, or even if you are working at home. So we kind of need to put ourselves on this situation to understand what are the usual distractions that restaurants are facing on their daily basis. What are the other equipments trying to do for them that we are not doing, So, and also I'm going to share just a small video. And this is how we could acknowledge that this person is typing the delivery orders from a person that is on the balcony. And also you have a tablet on her left side. And delivery orders are dropping on that tablet. And since this tablet doesn't have a direct connection with this main screen where she's typing, we being there, we kind of could acknowledge the amount of time that she needs to do this and to perform this action. This was something that if we didn't go to the field, we wouldn't be aware of. Okay, people would say, oh, it would be so nice that if we could interconnect these two solutions. But once you are there, you can feel the pain, like you are observing the pain. So let's just bear with me a little bit and try. And there she goes. And she tries to put all the orders there. And each order takes like around 30 seconds. So imagine that at the same time, they are dropping 10 delivery orders. Each one takes like 30 seconds to insert on their POS. And you also have people in front of you ordering things. So this can be kind of chaotic. And once we were in our office, we weren't quite aware of that. So we go to the field and try to feel the pain. Also, okay, we thought, yeah, this is good for us, the product team. But we also thought, no, this is not just something that matters to the product team. So we need to involve everyone. Because we are already collecting information from other teams. So we kind of know and understand that it's essential to make this transversal, because different eyes, different perspectives, if you put that people on the field, they could bring us different insights and different findings. If I go with the perspective of an account manager, maybe I can observe different things from the perspective of a product or an engineer or a product designer or even someone from sales. So this is why we wanted to blend different disciplinary knowledge when bringing people into the field. Not just, oh, okay, so we went to the field, just the researcher or just the product designers or just the engineers or just the PMs. No, everyone goes to a field trip. So we kind of did that. So involving an entire company and bringing such a diversity of people into the field and make them kind of, embrace this initiative like their own was crucial to make this a success. Like, we had people from the onboarding teams, from product designers, VP of brands, marketing teams, head of Portugal, head of Italy, head of Spain, even our CEOs, engineer managers, operation managers, so delivery managers. Everyone was participating, and each one of these persons had a different perspective, and we could understand that how enriched this was, because for sure, when we are so focused in product, like doing this micro action, when someone comes from a field trip with the perspective of a salesperson, it gives a different layer. Okay, so this is important, transversal. Also, we kind of relied on, and once we started to do the field trips, we realized that this couldn't be just, okay, we do this once in a while because it's fun, it brings us some data, but no, let's make this like with a good cadency. And now we are doing this like in a weekly basis. Okay, so because we kind of acknowledge that this was a real good source of extra data and extra information that would bring a different layer to the things that we are designing and developing. So adding to the other sources of information that are already existing inside Kitch, we had another layer. And this is a very qualitative layer, but also this is the part that we were really missing on all these different parts of information that we needed, because once again, many of the data that we were already selecting from other sources of informations, when you go to the field, you also can, see if that is really happening. And when we were interviewing people, okay, I'm not going to say that people lie, but yes, people do lie, not intentionally, of course. People were saying some things, but when we were going to the field, we could see that there were some nuances. So, okay, it's not quite as this person is saying, but now I understand better what does this mean, okay? So having an extra layer of information was also very important for us to better understand what to design and when to design it and why were we designing and developing different things. So for you to be more aware how we organize this, and this is kind of a toolkit that I'm providing to you. So this is how we do it. So we work a lot with Notion, and we have this page where I organize and try to put on a weekly basis the open list of field trips, and we have it by the name of the restaurant, by country, the status, if it's planning, if it's already being running and happening, the type of restaurant, when it's going to happen. And here is where I incentive, and I share this on the Slack channel where everyone is involved, like, okay, so we're going to have more field trips. So if you want to go, feel free to drop your name there. So this is where people will drop their names. So we kind of do this no more than 2 people. Okay, you see that we have 3 people here, but this is a different segment. So it's a bigger place where we are going to explore. So having more people there, it's fine. But kind of when you go to a restaurant, having more than 2 can be kind of confusing. We do not aim to interfere with the restaurant operations, so keep it a little low profile there. So this is where everything starts. So you drop your name, then I book a training session with the people that are going to the field trip. Sometimes at the beginning, I would go and I would do this training with them on the field. But now I leave them and they go along, and I instruct them on best practices, some tips on how to run and how to take the notes from the observations, like taking good pictures, doing some videos, trying to understand what kind of things do we want to learn on the field and what to observe, like creating a list of things like that. It's also important during this session to talk a little bit about the restaurant they are going to visit. So it's also very important to do some homework, like what type of restaurants, what's the connection with Kitch, are they Kitch restaurants? Because we also go to restaurants that have nothing to do with Kitch. So this is also us exploring different segments because we really want to learn with them. And also we take care of some logistics. So this is an important moment, like 30 minutes, and we share knowledge around this theme. So what do we share while we are doing this training, and what is expected when you are in the field? So we have this kind of observation flow, and this is very important because when you go on a field trip, you can go during the first shift, or you can go during the last shift, which is lunchtime or dinner time. So, and you kind of catch different types of operations there in types, and you will for sure observe different things. And this is just for my colleagues when they go to the field to be a little bit more, tied in terms of the things that are going to observe. So if you go in the first shift, and you go a little bit before opening the restaurant, you can assist how do they prepare food, how do they prepare the operations on their POS, what kind of other systems do they need to put on, if they have all the food items. We can see providers coming in and like the employees starting to have their rituals. So this is something that we also like to observe. And then the first clients start to come into the store or to the restaurant, and first delivery orders start to drop on the tablets. And then sometimes there's a peak, sometimes there's not a peak. So it floats a lot because inside the restaurant, a lot of things can happen. You can have a good day, you can have a bad day. You can have a lot of customers or not so. And if you go during dinner time, you can see the way they close the operation. What do they need to do? What is the last thing that they do? Why do they do it? Does this matter to Kitch in terms of solutions or services? So this is the kind of things that we kind of want to observe. So, and this is like the frame of the observation frame that I instruct to my colleagues when they are there. So look for main actions, if they have routines, some unpredictable actions that you thought that would never happen there. So just, register them. And regarding those actions, who are the people doing that? So what are the stakeholders? And it can be a lot of stakeholders, restaurant staff, couriers, the customers, providers, you name it. And when they are doing these actions, what do they need in terms of tools of systems to perform them? And why are they doing this? Can we extract a little bit more of information if we are observing something and we cannot really understand it? So I kind of create this observation grid. So this is just for them to be more organized in terms of notes. It's kind of interesting because we do not impose like a way of taking notes. And also at the beginning, it was also with the purpose of exploring and understanding how different people with different perspectives take notes and how do they organize them. So this was just the base for them to take the notes, and if they wanted to organize it by themes or just like a diary, I'm seeing this because of that. This person is doing this. Put a picture, put a video, next action, and would be like that. So we kind of have different ways of taking notes. Something that it's very important, and as I mentioned before, having some homework done regarding the restaurant, because sometimes when restaurants don't have a lot of customers, okay, so just write down a small unmoderated interview script. Just what kind of questions do you want to take there and ask to that precise restaurant? Which one of the restaurant staff would I like to ask these questions? Would I like to Would I like to talk with couriers, with their customers? What kind of questions? What do I want to extract from this field trip? So, in having a more in-depth question, context around the restaurant, it's more easier for us to build the script around the restaurant. So, around the things that they want and need to extract. So, let's not just make it like an observation without any kind of emotions. So, like when you are observing, try to understand and see if how that person reacts to the things they are doing. You know, if it makes it mad, if, I don't know, it has some kind of behavior that it's visible. And if you don't understand it, okay, you can ask, but be reasonable, because people are working, and sometimes in a restaurant, daily life can be really intense. So if you have a question, just write it down. And when you see that that person is a little bit more, at ease, so you go there and you ask, like, oh, I saw that you were doing that and you reacted that way, but I couldn't quite understand. Can you kind of explain me what happened there and why? Okay. So being reasonable is very important, because we don't want to interfere with the operation, of course. Also, this is the hard part. So how am I going to take notes? It's very easy, always with a pen and paper, because if you take a computer, that's a blocker. Even if you try to write everything down on your smartphone, it's easier. It's more fluid when you have a pen and a paper, and you can also draw things around that, and use the smartphone just to take pictures and do some small videos. We always make people aware to be careful while they are taking pictures, not to expose identities, because people can be mad about that, and we are not asking permission. And if someone asks us to delete something, of course, we will delete it. Okay. So notes and artifacts. So when they come from the field trips, each field trip has its own Notion page, and each of the persons that go have their Notion page too, where they can drop their notes and artifacts. And this is the only thing that we ask them. So when you come, just drop them there in English, clear and clean English. If it has some language errors, no problem at all, but just drop them then. And after that, and this is the kind of things that people are sharing, they do draws, after that, they do beautiful setups of what's happening inside the restaurant. They take pictures of Post-its, they take pictures of things they are doing in terms of marketing, what are the different systems that they are using, tickets, QR codes, things that we feel that are important for us to explore in terms of the things that we are already doing. Taking pictures, where do they receive the couriers and they put the bags on the delivery for delivery? How is the setup? And if there's a specific place for couriers to pick up the orders, so how do they interact with with Kitch systems? What's happening when they put the bag and they put the ticket there and they write things over there? So, okay, this is curious, so I'm going to take a picture. Also, a lot of things that different perspectives. If it wasn't for this diversity, we couldn't have these different perspectives. And after all, and when they drop all the information on their Notion pages, we have this field trip repository, and this is the second version, where the UXR team, which is me, I will try to pick up the observations that they brought, and I will see if we have already an observation that it's connected to that, to start to establish patterns. So we write the observation, some insights or context around that, and the cause, the status, if it's if it's already been worked by a squad or a specific team, if it's in a roadmap or not, a type of observation, if it's a pain, if it's a behavior, an opportunity, if it's a suggestion, in what part of the journey does this happen, if there's a specific theme around, the type of character that is involved, where did this happen? And this is kind of important for us, because we can be aware that it's happening in 5 restaurants, and these are the restaurants where this is happening, if it belongs to a specific segment, and if we can write some recommendations around that. So also, this is an open document, so everyone can go in the field trip page and see all the open field trips. You can also have a specific part where you can request a specific field trip just to observe a more focused thing. And also everyone has access to all the completed field trips if they want to go one by one. And we also have this Slack channel where from time to time we share a little bit of information around the field trips, which we call the Nuggets UX Research Slack channel. So in there we can share if someone brought some good insights from the field, and we share them in, like, we put a picture or a small video. And this is also a way of making information flow through the company and making people aware that things are happening on the field trips and we can bring value information. So we've been doing this for 8 months. We've done already so far 35 field trips, in which involved 56 different Kitchers. So it's a lot of people. So it's more than the half of the company. And this is also giving impact and bringing impact into our products. So as I mentioned before in the video that I shared previously, you could see that only in the field we could feel the amount of time that people would take to register an order. But also we were having trouble that people couldn't hear on our tablets when the delivery orders were dropping there. So because people, we cannot hear, but okay, we need to go and see in different types of restaurants with different types of volume of people, what's happening there. So, and yes, we could prove that sound was kind of not in the right place. And we have even people that were using Bluetooth speakers to make it louder. So with us being in the field, we could prove to ourselves that this was a real pain for restaurant staff, because we were banalizing this. It's just a little component, a little feature from the product. It's just sound. But no, this is, if you don't hear delivery orders dropping on the tablets, you are not aware that they are dropping there. So this was had a quite interesting impact of the product. And also we are starting to expand this to the other countries where we are working. So mainly the main team is in Portugal, but we have already 10 people working at Spain, 5 and 5 people working in Italy. But we are kind of aware that for those countries, it's not possible to do this in a weekly basis, so we kind of aware that we need a different cadency. And it's very crucial for us to have a person that is like your wingman or your wingwoman of the field trips and it's responsible for them. So far we already made like 4 field trips in Spain with different people. So none of these people is directly involved with UX research, but they have this training and they have this will and understanding that this is important. And it's not just, for the product teams. It's not just for PMs and for product designers or even engineers. And for sure, it's not just for UX researchers. And in Italy, we also start our first field trip, but since the team is so small, we go on an easy pace. So this is what I had to show you in terms of our field trips. Thank you so much.